So here's my video today. So the Democrats are pushing to make it so this new law that the ROP wants to instill to show identification to vote, meaning that if you mail in your vote, you have to also prove your identity, which is being touted and blasted as racist and unfair to people of color and unfair to people who can't afford it. Man, if you can't afford to get a fucking ID, then you probably don't need to be fucking voting, or you can't vote. So that being said, I just want to run down a quick list of things that you cannot possibly fucking do without ID. And this is from firsthand experience. Granted, it is a bitch to get ID. I will completely go with you on that one. But it's not that fucking hard. It takes some time and some dedication and a couple dollars that you don't spend on fucking shit. Okay, and by shit I mean drugs. Alright? It's easy. It's fucking easy. Alright? You go get online. You type in birth certificate, hospital I was born in. You enter some fucking questions that only you would know, and they send you a birth certificate. Okay? Then you easily go to the social, you go and you call. We all have medical records. You go to the fucking local hospital and you request your medical records. You don't have to show ID for those because there's proof right there that it's you. Easy. Medical records. Take the medical records to the fucking Social Security office. They issue you a fucking Social Security card based on your medical records, not your birth certificate. Then you take that fucking little piece of paper that says they issued you Social Security card. It's a receipt with your name and Social Security number on it, along with your birth certificate, 2 forms of fucking residence to the DMV. You pay $28 and you get an ID. How fucking hard is that? Here's a list of what you cannot do without an ID. Ready? You can't rent a car. You can't fly in a plane. You can't get on a fucking Greyhound. You can't get on a train. Can't cash a check. Can't pick up mail at the post office. Can't get a job. You can't rent a car. You can't rent a house. You can't rent an apartment. You can't register a vehicle. You can't insure a vehicle. You can't open up a bank account. Let me see. The list goes on and on and on. You can't rent a fucking hotel room. You can't rent a car. I mean, I probably said that before. Can't buy a firearm legally. You can't get a prescription without an ID. You can't, you can't rent an apartment. You can't buy land. You can't get a fucking job without ID. So how the fuck is requiring ID to make voter fraud harder to do bias and racist? I'm sorry, man, but if you're a person of color and you're too fucking lazy or drugged up to go get your fucking ID, you don't need to be voting. Sorry. I'm fucking over this shit, dude. Too many of you people are fucking retarded out there. I have friends that I know are intelligent, that are very intelligent, disagreeing with that. You can't do shit without ID. I mean, you can't rent a fucking Motel 6 room for a night without providing identification to get the room. So what the fuck is wrong with requiring ID to vote? I mean, am I missing something here? Life revolves around us all being identified. What do you see every time you turn on the TV? Identity theft, identity theft, identity theft. Protect your ID, protect your identity. Yet they want us to vote without ID. Gold fucking star to you fucking retards out there. Racist, sexist, classist. Man, you're just parroting what you've been fucking told by the fucking left-wing libtards. That everything's racist, everything's fucking sexist, everything's homophobic, everything's transphobic if it doesn't fucking fit the agenda of the fucking far left. All right? Here's what it is. It's retarded to think like that. You are fucking retarded if you think that requiring an ID to vote is sexist, racist, or classist. If I could fucking get an ID, okay, me. You all don't know my fucking history, but I'll tell you what. It's hard for me to get any kind of documentation anymore, okay? But if I can get a fucking ID, then the stupidest goddamn motherfucker out there can get an ID. The difference between the people that don't have IDs and the people that do is they don't spend their money trying to get those documents. And if you don't spend the money to get the documents in, you don't do anything. And if you can't get a fucking Motel 6 room without an ID, you shouldn't be able to cast a fucking ballot on a national election for our presidency without proving your identity either. Plain and simple. Plain and fucking simple. Get off the fucking racist kick. Get off the fucking sexist kick. Get off the classist kick. It's called security. That's like if I fucking walked into your bank and said, hey, I need Miss So-and-so's bank account fucking routing number and her account number. I'm her husband. What are they going to say? Oh, well, sir, that's okay, but your name's not on the account. Oh, but I'm her husband. Well, even if that was the case, sir, we would need ID to prove who you are so we can open up a joint account with your wife if that's what you'd like to do. Under no circumstances will I be given that information without proving my identity or proving that I'm supposed to have that information. So what's the fucking difference? If you apply it to the votes, apply it to the security of our voting structure. Oh, you guys are fucking... I mean, most of you aren't. Don't get me wrong. If you're watching this, chances are you're subscribed to me, and I gotta appreciate you watching my rants and raves. But does anybody else think that this is fucking stupid? I mean, you gotta have ID. Like, I cannot get on the plane this fall to fly to Hawaii without ID. Oh, and guess what? I have to show ID to get on the plane. I also have to show ID to get a rapid COVID test. Then I have to show ID again with my rapid COVID test, with the identification on the rapid COVID test to the Hawaiian government so I can bypass the quarantine fucking period. Is that such a big fucking deal? No. I show my ID, get shoved in the nose. I take my ID out and show it to them when I show them the paperwork. It's real easy. You go in, you show your ID, you cast your fucking ballot, and you get out. It's not fucking rocket science. It doesn't require fucking Einsteinian thinking to understand that making our voting processes more secure is in our better interest for the country. And if you disagree with that, just go fucking play in traffic, man. We don't fucking need you.